Well, oh, wait, I've already got screen share going on. I need to shut that down, get back to here because we're not ready for that. Hey, everybody, welcome to Shoot the Shit with DSP. We'll get that started in just a moment. Let's get the highs going, all the little stuff out of the way. First of all, we've got look at that. Good morning, Chris Schoenberger. First in line. Good to see you, my friend. This will be a kind of a reminder kind of day for you. Roadhouse Page, what up? Good morning from Texas. Let's go. Oh, it's Amy. Look at that. Why does it say Roadhouse Page? Because that's the name of the restaurant. Amy, what's going on, man? Good to have you here. Hot Dog Eddie's, what's up? No lunch scheduled today, so let's shoot the shit. Let's get her dead. Now, for those of you who are on my Facebook pages, either my Facebook group for members or my private non-member Facebook group, make sure you click on the link that says, Jenny just put in the non-members group of chat.restream.io/FB for Facebook. So Facebook gives me permission to see your name. For those of you who are on YouTube, make sure you're logged into your account so I can see your name. We've got Jose from Chicago Taco Authority. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Lindsay, what's going on? Live from New Orleans. Lindsay's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Mary's put this in the members group, chat.restream.io/FB. And make sure you click on that if you're in the Facebook group to give Facebook permission for me to see your name. And we got a good morning from BI. Who's BI? Don't know a BI. BI means something, I'm sure. Sandy, what's going on? Good morning. Hopefully our call the other week was helpful for you. It is good to have you all here this morning. We've got some good stuff happening. Hopefully you didn't miss me last week too much because you're going to miss me again next week. I've got an alumni trip to Northeastern University and to go out in an alumni row, see the varsity race, two different races on a Saturday and a Sunday. Big time stuff. Well, let's get started, shall we? Welcome to Shoot the Shit with DSP. STS with DSP happens every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube, travel schedule permitting. We're going to invest about 30 minutes out of your day to get pumped about the upcoming weekend, get excited about crushing your goals, and finding the motivation to be the best you possible. Plus, I'll answer your burning questions. I'm David Scott Peters, creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula, and your coach. And today, I want to talk about your systems journey and how it's not a straight line. Again, for those of you who are just joining, if you're in Facebook, click on the link that my team has put in your private Facebook page that says, hey, restream.io/FB, give Facebook permission for me to see your name. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're logged into your account so I can see your name and you can ask questions. Let's get started. I think by now most of you know that I've been coaching independent restaurant owners and their managers for 20 years now. It's crazy now to think about it. 20 years have gone by. And for the first 16 years of my coaching career, I was known as the systems guy. Yes, I air quoted systems guy. I was the guy who put systems in place, help you make more money, lower your prime cost. Well, for the most part, you might come to a conclusion when I say that I might know a thing or two about restaurant systems. Now, I'm going to tell you, since the time I wrote my book, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, What Successful Restaurateurs Do, and my approach to coaching completely changed. I wrote that book and I'm like, hey, I've got to look at it differently. It changed from me focusing on systems and prime cost to focusing on getting you freedom from your restaurant so you can have a life and start making the money you deserve. With all that being said, guess what? The catalyst to making that happen is, guess what? Systems. So while my approach to coaching is different, systems are still the core. The systems allow you to impose your will without being there. The systems allow you to get all the crazy maker crap out of your head and into a system, a process, a way, your way. It makes it trainable for your management team and your employees, what the job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when. Systems are critical to you being able to leave your restaurant, know it's being run your way when you're there, but especially when you're not. So systems become such a big thing, and often we don't really understand what that means. Well, I'm going to paint some of that picture for you today. No matter how I frame things, though, systems are the keystone to your success. And therein lies the rub. Where the hell do you start? How long will it take to implement all the systems you need? Why is it that some restaurants get their systems in place and they find they have to start all over again? In the short time we have together today, I'm going to do my best to answer these questions for you. Let's start off with the first question. Where do you start on your systems journey? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that it's Restaurant 101. Hot food hot, cold food cold, clean, safe worker environment for your guest employees, wow customer service, incredible product, and now to go. So you need systems in place to ensure your guest gets the best experience possible. We're in the hospitality industry. We're about creating memories. So nothing else matters if you don't have systems to ensure your guest gets the same dish every single time, the same service every single time, that your restaurant is clean, that people have a smile on their face, that there's personality. That's your priority. After that, well, comes cash controls. I want to make sure every dollar makes it into the bank. Unfortunately, I have one of my Mastery Plus members who just discovered that her in-house bookkeeper was embezzling. Now, part of that was because she trusted too much. And we need to trust and verify. And that's putting systems in place. And I'm going to talk about some of those systems in a moment. Systems in place to control cash, to make sure every penny makes it into the bank account. We trust and verify. We need checklists. Checklists to create a culture of close to open, that we close every shift 100% ready to open the next shift. So we trust each other as managers, that we don't walk into the restaurant with the AM PM blues. Who closed last night? Shit, they didn't do this. And they didn't do that. And they didn't do this. And they didn't do that. And we're bitching and moaning, but we're right. Because now I have to close a restaurant before I can open. Wouldn't it be nice to walk in and make sure that, well, the restaurant's ready to go? You got to have a budget. Budget. If you've been following me for any length of time, you've heard me say the two most important systems any restaurant should have are budgets and recipe costing cards. I don't give a shit that you think they're hard. You pick the hardest business in the world to be in. Your budget is your proactive plan for success. Your budget helps you decide what systems to put in place, when you're going to put in place, how quickly you're going to put in place, when you're going to hold people accountable, and what your results are going to be. So why am I doing all this work? You can actually see the bottom line results for the changes you're making and understand where you need to make change. Lower food costs, lower labor costs, increase one, reduce the other, whatever it may be, line by line on your operating expenses. It's critical. It's a proactive tool. It allows you to see and plan your future versus a P&L, which is reactive. It's past, can't change it. Well, I need to put in my daily admin. What is daily admin? This is where I was saying I was going to take you down the road for knowing my numbers. One is having a sales forecasting tool. I teach my members my sales forecast generator. You've got to have a DSR tracker So you can make sure that you know that every penny makes it to the bank, that here's what the POS system said it should be, here's what the actual cash deposit is, because we may overshort, and then did all those numbers hit the bank account from MasterCard, Visa, American Express to the cash. But it's plus it sets up all my other systems because I have gross sales for food, bottled beer, draft beer, wine, liquor, so that I can run food cost, labor cost, order on budget. Need an invoice log to make sure that we're splitting up our invoices, that the whole broadline distributor invoice doesn't go into your food costs when there's paper, janitorial, small wares, other things on there. So we need to split it up. I need a paid out log to make sure that if I go to the store, that those tomatoes that chef picked up at the store next door actually make food cost. And then I need a manager log for continued communication. These are baseline systems that set you up to use all the other big systems. I need key item tracking, where I count 5 to 15 items every shift to make sure they're not being stolen. I need a waste tracker to make sure we stop making dumbass mistakes. So if we order too many tomatoes, I can see we're throwing away half a case of tomatoes every Thursday. Reduce my par level. That if John keeps burning a burger, I can reposition John, retrain John, or even fire John. I can see that we're throwing away ninth pan after ninth pan after ninth pan of side dishes because we're slow on Monday and we're putting out too much product. I can fix those problems today. They're proactive tools. So the key item tracking allows me to prevent theft. The waste tracking allows me to stop dumbass mistakes. You add that a declining budget for purchasing, a system I call the Restaurant Checkbook Guardian, where I can give up ordering without giving up my checkbook using all the information we just went through from budgeting to forecasted sales, tracking our invoices and our paydouts, our actual DSR, just 5 minutes of work on a daily basis. I can tell my managers how much money they have to spend on their next order to be on what? On budget. Because all too often what we do is we fix every problem in the restaurant by just writing a check. Instead, you see there's a problem, the manager has to come to you with an answer to the problem, what they did to fix it. And you can still decide whether or not they can place the order or not, because you know that payroll taxes just got swept from your account and you paid cash for the bank of fryers. You may be profitable, but you ain't got no cash. And cash is king. Now, the next place I'm going with my systems is scheduling on budget. That's again, same thing, a declining budget, if you will, for labor. By the way, if you don't have a budget, you don't know where your labor cost should be. I can tell you with 100% certainty, because I've been doing this for 20 years and I've seen thousands upon thousands of budgets, and that is not an exaggeration, that without a budget, you are not scheduling to the right number. You're picking a number out of your ass, or you read it in a newspaper article, I'm so old, online, you saw a speaker talk about it, say the National Restaurant Association said your labor cost should be 32%, and you use that all the way through the year, and it's wrong. You might be seasonal. You may have minimum staffing levels in the off season, and your manager, salary managers like Pac-Man chewing up all your money. You need more money. It'd be a higher percentage because you have one cook on, one server, one manager, and your labor cost is at 40%. But when you're in season, you reach maximum efficiencies. You've got a manager who's getting salary, their percentage goes smaller. They don't get paid more because you're busier. And then we hit this point in time, I may have money, but I can't add another cook to the line. I can't add another server to the stations because I'm full. And so now my customers are managing my efficiency and my labor drops like a rock. And maybe I run a 19% in another month. So the only way to know where your labor cost should be is with a budget. And when I have that budget, using what I call the Restaurant Payroll Guardian, I can tell your managers how many hours and dollars they have to schedule next week. Then with your fancy dancy scheduling software, we can do a schedule variance report and see that, hey, you're 14 hours over in the kitchen and we can make a change. Before we post the schedule, where can we stagger start? Where can we cut? Where can we make a change? Now, those are some base systems that need to be in place. Now, depending on your budget, you may need to dive into more advanced systems. Let's say we go to your budget and this is what I do with my members, and we find that your food cost is out of control. Well, you'd be looking to prioritize a whole group of other systems. You might need time temp checklists to make sure that you're not throwing away product or losing it because it went out of temp. You need line checklists to make sure everything's set up the right way, mise en place, that everything is set up to right par levels and so on, that the temperatures are there. Portion control systems from pre-portioned bagging things to utensils or cups, things like that on the line to make sure the guest gets the same portion every single time, controlling your costs at the same time. You might need to implement a system I teach called the automatic par levels, which allows you to, based on your past history and past sales going into the future, well, I can tell you how much you need to order to a point where, like we say in your past, you did X $100,000 in food sales and you bought X number of cases of French fries. For every dollar in food sales, you used 0.000053 cases of French fries. You're going into a $40,000 weekend and you need 5 cases. Now, by the way, this allows you to order like you've always ordered because it's based on how you operate, not based on a recipe card. So if your recipe card says 6 ounces of French fries, but Lurch has the biggest hand in the world and 8 ounces go every single time, it's going to ensure that Lurch can still load that plate because we have a different problem. But this is just making sure we can order, tie in our budget, tie in our order. Well, we need prep systems to make sure we're not over prepping, we're not chewing up labor that bleeds into as well, but that we're prepared for each shift. We need recipe costing cards, where now we're probably have to get into software. Because with recipe cards, I can do a couple things. I can menu engineer. We can reduce your food costs 3 to 7 points the first time through, but only with recipe costing cards, accurate, up-to-date recipe costing cards. We can start shelf-sheet inventory, know our food cost on a weekly basis. We can start comparing our budgeted food cost target, what we need to do to make money, our actual food costs based on inventories, and our ideal food costs based on our recipe costing cards and what our customers actually purchase. And I can find the story of my kitchen, that maybe I needed to be a 26% food cost budgeted, but I'm coming in at 28, and I want to kill my kitchen manager or chef because I'm losing money. But when I do my ideal food cost and I find that we're running 25% ideal, what does that say? Well, a typical restaurant runs 7 to 9 points above ideal. A rock star chef or kitchen manager, 1.5 to 2 points above ideal. So all of a sudden that 25 should be 27%. So if I'm 26 point something, whatever actual, I've got a kitchen manager or chef doing a great job ordering, training, portioning, running a great kitchen. But my budget says I need to be lower and I'm not making the money I'm supposed to. So now it says, hey, chef, kitchen manager, you need to re-engineer our menu. We need a lower starting point so that we can actually hit our numbers and make money. That's power. You can make change, but you got to have a budget. Then the mic drop of all software when it comes to food and beverage software is ideal versus actual product usage. When you can sit there and go, chef, why is your food cost high? I don't know. Instead, you can say, chef, your food cost is high. And let me show you where. And you highlight 5 line items. And one of them is, based on what our customers actually purchased, you should have used 350 pounds of chicken this week. You used 400 pounds of chicken. We got a problem. Fix it. And now you can start to find ways to actually change your bottom line because you proactively know your budget, your KPIs, your key performance indicators that come from your budget. You have systems in place to measure, to train, to get things done your way. And now all of a sudden you've got control. But let's say your budget comes out and your labor costs out of control. Well, you might be prioritizing different systems like tracking labor on a daily basis to see that we're not only tracking where our labor cost percentage is, but what our originally scheduled hours were and what we actually worked. That if my hours actually worked were more than forecasted, I had better have higher sales, because if not, I've got a manager who needs coaching and I've got the rest of the week to make a change versus getting to Friday, what a typical restaurant owner does, and look at the POS system and go, oh my God, our labor's out of control. Cut, cut, cut. And the 2 busiest sales days of the week, we want to give shitty service and long ticket times because we didn't pay attention the first 4 days. Doesn't make any sense, does it? But tracking helps you. Later, we get into whether in the budgetary process and after in tracking, I do something called the dollars per labor hour worked calculation, where we can start to say, based on how many cooks you have on the line and what your sales are, they're producing $125 per labor hour worked. For each cook on the line, in an hour, they'll do $125 in sales. And if our average food ticket was $25, well, all of a sudden we go, that's only five entrees or items an hour per cook. And we go, oh my gosh, we're inefficient. So what do we need to do? We may need to change our menu. We may have to reduce the amount of prep we've got. We may need to reduce the number of stations we have, train people. Like all of a sudden, with the right information, you can make change and control your labor cost. We're going to implement training systems. Train, train, train. If you're not training your people, if it's just follow somebody and hope they get it, that's not a training system. We need manuals. We need tests. We need videos. We need managers who understand, who can help them, keep them on course even after they graduate, if you will, their training. What if I told you that your system journey never ends? And that, well, it'll take you an average of 3 years to put most of the systems in place. No shit, 3 years. And that there's over 100 key tasks and systems that you need to have in place. Well over. Would that scare the shit out of you? Would you decide to stop your systems journey, or heck, even decide not to even start the process because, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming, there's too much? Well, let me remind you, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to bring up on the screen a list of what, when I took my book and I was starting to create my video library for training restaurant owners and their managers, I created something called the 23 stages of the restaurant prosperity formula. So let me pull this up here, and here we go. So hopefully y'all can see that. If it's not large enough, let me know in the comments. But as we come in here, I want you to look at this and say, okay, stage 1, we've got things from hot food hot, cold food cold. Well, that's restaurant 101. And then we come down here, we've got accounting issues we've got to take care of. We come down a little further, we've got, oh, these are the DSR tracker, paid out tracker, all the things that we just ran through. We come in here, we start talking about checklists and checklists that go deeper, not just checklists for opening, closing side work, but ordering silver and flatware and things like that. Because all of a sudden, how many times have you run out of forks in the middle of the shift because it was so simple, nobody got it? We got, let me go further here. We've got stage 6, where we start to put in smaller systems to reduce theft when it comes to the bar. We've got, key item tracker, waste tracker, restaurant checkbook guardian, things we've heard about, receiving procedures. We forgot about those. We've got accounting things like 52-period cash flow budgeting, profit and loss statements done by the 5th of each month, knowing your vision equation, more importantly, your core values, because those are your guiding principles. We've got defining roles from org charts to assigning what those jobs are and who they go to, having weekly manager meetings, owner, GM, and then manager, making we have communication going through. We've got, setting up our inventories. I can't do inventory without recipe costing cards, by the way, because my batch recipes, components to dish, soups, side dishes, desserts, dressings. So all of a sudden I've got all that stuff, and now I'm calculating things. I'm controlling my labor with the restaurant payroll guardian. Now we start going into weekly prime cost budget variance reports so that my managers can see if we're off 1 week. I've got 3 weeks to make a change. When you start measuring your prime costs on a weekly basis, your managers should never miss a bonus if you have a bonus program, because they see what they need to make a change, they make the change, and they right the ship versus looking backwards. We've got diving into those recipe costing cards, the automatic par levels, the prep systems, the perpetual inventory forms. We're only just 15, right? The 23 stages. We're at 15. All of a sudden, you start to feel your heart pound. You go, oh my God, look at all this stuff to do. This is why I tell you it takes 3 years. You've got employee things that we've got to do, from tracking, schedules and scheduling on budget to I-9s and making sure all those paperwork is right. We've got budget variance reports, weekly and monthly. We've got training positions and job descriptions and tests and all the things that go into there. Now we're to 18. We've got more governmental things, I-9s, OSHA, 8027 tip reporting. We've got ways to reduce theft behind our bar again, mid-shift bar drawer audits, no sale reports, transfer reports. You get the picture, comp reports. Then we've got advanced checklists from facilities, receiving checklists, HACCP checklists, walkthrough checklists. Stage 21. Now we're focusing on inventory turns, attacking your descending dollar report. We're joining a group purchasing organization, tracking labor hours. Remember the tracking part, tracking your labor percentages on a weekly basis. 23, food cost, menu engineering, actual versus budget versus ideal, actual versus ideal product usage, and then dollars per labor hour worked. There's a lot here. Well, how do I get to all this? Well, guess what? The way I've got this set up is for my members, when you log into my system, give me a second to get there, we've got all these different products that start off and we say, okay, well, what I'm trying to do is get to the 23 stages with the restaurant prosperity coaching. And you're going to see here's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. These are the 23 stages of the restaurant prosperity formula. When I come to stage 7, which was on that checklist, I've got dropping your food costs 2 to 3 points, the restaurant checkbook guardian demo, the key item tracker demo, the waste tracker demo, assessment for when you've done so. So like when I come in here, what do I have? I've got videos. I've got videos of everything that I'm teaching you step by step by step. Now I'm going to go back here. And then you've got the actual tools down below that you can actually pull up. You can actually pull up the sheet, the system that I teach you, and make it your own. So do know that there are resources and ways to get all these things done, but it still feels overwhelming. But the truth of the matter is, you've got to think about that there's good news. And the good news is that if you focus on the initial systems that I outlined at the beginning, before I overwhelmed you, you'd have a management team who knew what they were doing. You'd be able to leave your restaurant and have 2 days off in a row each week. You'd be able to work strategically on your business and start making the money you deserve. I know this. How do I know this? It's exactly what I teach in my book, Restaurant Prosperity Formula. It's exactly what I teach in my 2-day upcoming seminar in Las Vegas, May 17th and 18th, called Restaurant Transformation Seminar. And it's exactly what I teach in my group coaching program, Restaurant Transformation Intensive. This is a 20-year proven plan for restaurant success, dare I say, for restaurant prosperity. Now, before I finish up my portion of our live here today, I want to take a quick moment and address the fact that system implementation is not a straight line. First of all, no, I suck, I create work. But if you follow my system, you know you're going to have an implementer, somebody else who's learning with you, who's actually doing the work, implementing it, training your other managers, helping hold them accountable so that you can do other things. We're sharing the workload, we're delegating, we're learning how to successfully delegate to make sure shit gets done. But with that said, there will be setbacks. Like I've got a 24-week laid out program in my group coaching program, 24 weeks. And I had to extend it to 30 weeks because I can guarantee you're going to fall behind. Shit happens, AKA restaurant happens. You lose an implementer, you lose a manager, you have a major catering, you're short a cook, you got to, you name it. Name anything. Stuff happens in the restaurant business. We've got to be flexible. Here's the deal. If you fall behind, if you slow down, that's okay with me. As long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep trying and moving forward, I don't care how fast you move, you will see the same results as somebody else as long as you keep moving forward. But if you allow that to be a roadblock and to stop you dead in your tracks and have a fixed mindset, then your system's journey will never work. Because even the best people have setbacks. I cannot tell you how many of my best members, people who've made incredible progress, who've had to restart for different reasons. And we'll talk about that in just a second. There'll be times where you trust too much. Like, man, all this shit is working, man. This is awesome. I don't even have to pay attention. And then your systems go away. So you got to focus on when your systems go away. Why did they go away? Management not paying attention to the systems I put in place. Do I need to retrain them, hold them accountable, put them back in place, change my budget? Do I need to say, maybe things aren't getting done or going away because I took my eye off the ball? And people said, well, if you're not paying attention, I'm not going to get done. So focus on why they went away, then re-implement the systems. You might even change the location. I've got a member mentor, in fact, who just changed locations. And if you know what it's like to open a restaurant, which you do, When you change your location, it's like opening a brand new business and you get overwhelmed with all the things from rehiring people and getting new products. And everybody's looking at new stations and all your checklists aren't worth anything. And you're just kind of running and gunning and trying to keep going. So all of a sudden he had to start over. But here's the deal. Once you know the systems, that's the key here, knowledge. Once you know the systems, once you've had them in place once, getting them back into place is actually an incredibly fast journey because you know them. See, that's the beautiful part. If you're a manager listening to me, you go, oh my God, this sounds like work. The moment you learn this information, it's yours forever, and you can make change in any restaurant, anytime. Whether you had systems in place and you're trying to go to the next level, or whether you've got nothing in place and you've got to put something in place, whether you had things in place and you've got to get them back in place, having the knowledge is key. So I'm going to tell you this. If you're ready to start your systems journey or take your systems journey again to the next level, do me a favor. I want you to email Ryan, and let me actually bring it up. I think I had this on here. I want you to email Ryan James. Ryan is a member mentor of mine, somebody who's been through the program, made a huge change, and he answers questions for you all before you have to get to me. Email Ryan at davidscottpeters.com. He can teach you, tell you about the book, whether that's the right direction for you. He can tell you whether my seminar is the right direction for you. Again, that's coming up May 17th and 18th. So if you're on the fence on that, I'd start thinking about making that move now before hotel rooms go up and travel goes up and all those things. And he can tell you whether my group coaching program is the right fit for you. And that depends on your volumes, whether you're a fixed mindset or growth mindset. There's lots of things that go into there that sometimes you might not be a good fit for my group. It sometimes happens. But if you want to put systems in place, if you'd like to continue down your system journey and you think that maybe I'm the right guy to help you, reach out to Ryan. Because I'm going to tell you one thing that I can promise you. And that is, if you decide to go down the system journey, you implement the systems I teach. You follow what I tell you to do. Don't fight it. It'll change your life. There are people on this live right now whose lives have changed. I guarantee it. By the way, it's a rarity I have a failure. Rarity. And the only reason why anybody fails is they choose to stop. They don't do the work. Because it doesn't matter what I teach you. If you don't put it in place, it's worthless. But if you put it in place, I can guarantee you it'll change your life. That concludes my portion of Shoot the Shit with DSP. I had a lot to say today. What do you guys have for me? Let me shut down this other stuff that I had going. What kind of questions do you have for me? I'd be happy to answer them. Do you have any comments? Do you have any, hey, what's going on? I do want to remind you that there is no Shoot the Shit next Friday. I will actually be on an airplane again. The next Shoot the Shit will be on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to guess that anybody who owns a Mexican food or Tex-Mex restaurant, I will not be seeing you on the call. What do we got out there? There are no comments? There's a large group of you on here today. Give me a hi. Are you hearing me? Have I been talking to myself? Hey, I've got a good morning. Yeah, I know it's working. What's going on, Brad? It is good to have you. So at least I know you guys can hear me. No questions? No comments? No nothing? All right then. Well, I'm just going to throw this back up here real quick. Jenny put this in the main chat, and that is here for those of you on YouTube. You're not going to see this, so I'm going to make sure you see it here. The seminar link is, you can go to dsp.coach/RTS for Restaurant Transformation Seminar. Chris is verifying that he can hear me. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. I've got a Facebook user says, is the May event different from the one last November? No, it is not different. It is the same. It's the same systems, same everything, same. So the only thing I would tell you is I do have people who have come back multiple times because one, the first time through, you're mad taking notes. The second time through, you're listening and you're going, I still need to do that. I still need to do that. Plus, they bring a different manager with them because they need to get them to drink the Kool-Aid. Not the bad Kool-Aid that kills you, but the Kool-Aid that brings you in and says, oh, I'm buy into everything that's going on. So that's a great question. I really appreciate you asking that. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to let you go. I know I've got to pause a little bit because there's a little delay on the live from when I speak to when it goes to one Facebook group, another Facebook group, and YouTube. Chris says, I've heard that funny story about the AC guy yesterday. Yes, sir. So for those of you who don't know, Chris's old operations manager, Chris and I have known each other now, what do we say, 10 years? Anyway, I've worked with Chris for a long, long time. And when we originally worked, he had an operations manager who was an ex-police officer like him. And well, he left him and moved to Arizona and works as a HVAC sales manager. And all of a sudden, I'm getting ACs put in here on the wall. And dude in here, salesperson takes a picture of me outside. Well, he takes a picture of the wall where the power is, and I'm in there. And next thing you know, I get a phone call. This is Mike. Do you know who this is? I'm like, no, it's his old sales manager or operations manager. It's pretty cool. Small world, small world. All right, we've got here. Chris says it was a great event. Yeah, Chris has been to multiple 3-day events at my old company, and he came to my November event, and I really appreciate having him. He said it was a great event. I would take his word for it. This year's our 9th year. Okay, I'm 1 year off. What, are we married? I mean, dude, it's like talking to my wife. I'm 1 year off. There we go. All right. No more questions? Then I'm going to let you go. I want you to really think about your systems journey, though. I hope that this helps give you a roadmap. If you want the proven roadmap, please look at my book. Please, 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 please sign up for the seminar. Otherwise, maybe the group coaching program's right for you, but I'll tell you the seminar is right for everyone because it's cost effective and I give you the whole picture. You can decide about group coaching after that if you want. It's the same information. It's how you learn. But if you're like me, I like to sit there live, see somebody deliver it. Hopefully I'll see you there. Peace, everybody. Go out there, kick some ass, and I'll see you not next Friday, but on Cinco de Mayo.